Well, blessed Tuesday to you as we come with your daily encouragement. And we just heard the seventh seal, and it says that the incense and the censer that is what is used to spread the prayers of God before the throne. The fire from the censer is thrown onto the earth and it causes rumble and destruction. But this isn't the end. Even though there is a half hour of silence, this is still not the end. Now it seems that another group of seven, not just seven angels, but seven angels with seven trumpets appear. What are they going to be about? Well, we have the first of their trumpets in Revelation 8, verse 6 and 7. Now the seven angels who had the seven trumpets made ready to blow them. Haven't we been through this before? And that's one of the interpretations, I'll just say. That the seven seals, the seven trumpets, and then the seven bowls of wrath are essentially just the same version of all of the first things again. That's one interpretation. Other ones say it has to go in chronological order. However you do it, just let's focus on the word. Now the seven angels who had the seven trumpets made ready to blow them. The first angel blew his trumpet, and there was hail and fire mixed with blood, and there were hurled onto the earth, and a third of the earth was burned up, a third of the trees burned up, and all green grass was burned up. Now let's look at the images of this first trumpet. He blew the trumpet, and came hail and fire. If we go back to the first seal, and I'm going to show you kind of where I'm leaning as far as interpretations are concerned. The first was the first horse of the apocalypse, and it said, "Come," at the beginning of chapter 6. And I looked, and there was a white horse, and the rider on it had a bow and a crown given to him. And he came out conquering to conquer. Well, that assumes that he's conquering kingdoms and worlds. This is actually conquering literally the earth, and it says that fire mixed with blood, and they hurled to the earth, and a third of the earth was burned up. One third. Now we're going to have that division of thirds, another holy number, 1, 2, and 3, in the chapters ahead of us. If 7 is the number of perfection, 3 is the number of divinity, just like the Trinity. 2 is the number of community, but 3 is the number of divinity, God's action in this world. And so with this third, we begin to see God's action happening. Now, with the invention of worldwide satellite coverage, one could say that every place that there is at peace, there's probably even another part of the world. I wouldn't say it's up to a third, but it's a good portion of the world that is in chaos. And sometimes we only pay attention to it as when it's our area in chaos, and the rest of the world cries, "Why aren't you paying attention to us?" There is always going to be some part of the world that's going to be in a little uproar while we still have breath until the new kingdom comes. But it says that this would burn up a third of the earth, and the third of the trees burned up, and all the grass. In other words, the things that give us hope are starting to fade away. When I was overseas, I used to joke about how monotone and how secure British broadcasting company on the radio sounded. And I would have thought that the first trumpet of Revelation would be sounded and the BBC would still be on the air and say something of an understatement of massive unpleasantness in this world. Of course, there would be something that would even shake the demeanor of a BBC correspondent. Because I was always amazed at how monotone and how steadfast they were in their presentation. They've become a lot more Americanized, a lot more animated. Having a year of that and I come back to our country, you don't realize how animated our news is. Maybe I think it's gotten more and more so in the past 20, 30 years. But getting back to this is a big deal that's happening when the first trumpet is sounded. But once again, who do we trust? Now, I know that there are some interpreters that would say that all the church has been raptured at this point or taken away from this destruction. I don't think the book of Revelation promises that. It gives a warning for the sake of warning. Who are you going to trust when a third of the earth has been burned up? A third of all grass has been taken out. We might have our predictions of what type of cataclysm, at least from a scientific or earthly standpoint, caused this, but what we're reminded of in this is that this was caused by God. Because God is not just taking care of a new heaven and a new earth, He's beginning that process. Now we can talk and wrestle with why God is doing it this way. Why can't we do it in another way? Just like Jesus pleading in the Garden of Gethsemane, Lord, if there is another way, let it happen. But yet conceding, not my will, but thine be done. Now I know it isn't quite the right interpretation, but we might ask in application, what are the things that are burning up in your life, or their lifespan or their purpose has now come to an end? There probably will be something that is happening in your life that is like that. Maybe it seems like even a third of your life is being burned up in some ways, especially in changes and catastrophic changes. But regardless, the answer is still the same. We're to trust in Jesus, even when, from our standpoint, it seems that what is left over is far inadequate. I can't imagine a world without grass. I don't know what that meant about a third of the trees. I can't imagine a place without trees. We need them for our breath. We know that scientifically. And I can't imagine if I'd want to be the survivor if I knew a third of the world was on fire and had come to naught. I might have more wanted to be in that group so that I could finally be at rest for a while, if that is the scenario. But that is not what we're told here yet. What we're told is to trust in the Lord. And even though we know the Lord is working with this first trumpet, let us trust in the Lord in today. Even when the seals, the trumpets, the bowls of wrath are coming, let us trust in the Lord today. God bless you today. We trust that these will continue to be words of encouragement. Take care. God bless.